welcome back. I know it's been a minute and I apologize for that. The business has gotten so busy that I haven't had a lot of time to do videos, but I'm going to try a lot harder going forward to do some videos that are things that you can do at home. I Google things like the easiest way to cut an onion and how to keep worms out of my tomatoes. So I know that you want things that are just like easy tips and tricks to be able to make a cake at home that's not complicated, no like culinary jargon. You just want how to do it. So today we're going to tackle a vanilla cake, which is the perfect base for any kind of cake. You can add strawberry icing, lemon icing, chocolate icing, vanilla icing, whatever icing. So let's start with the vanilla cake. This is my go-to. So today we're going to do one that I'm going to use for an updated caramel cake video very soon. So let's get started. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to take 2 sticks of salted butter. Salted, not unsalted. You're going to put them in the bowl of a stand mixer. Just like that. These are at room temperature. They've been sitting out on my counter all day. You're going to add half a cup of Crisco shortening. Praise the Lord, you can buy these in sticks now. So you just cut it in half and drop it down in there. We're going to turn the mixer on medium speed for 3 to 5 minutes, but make sure that it's at least 3 minutes because you want it to be fluffy. You want everything, you want the butter and the shortening to become very creamed together so that when you add your sugar it gets really fluffy. Show you what that looks like. For now we're going to start with the mixer on medium speed with the butter and the shortening for about 3 minutes. So while that mixture is mixing in your stand mixer, you're going to come over to a different surface and you're going to get your flour mixture ready. Most of the time you're going to see the instructions that say, put your flour mixture in a medium-sized bowl and set aside. Well, I don't want to wash another bowl, so I use wax paper. So just spread out wax paper about 1.5 feet long. You're going to put your sifter on top and you're going to measure out 3 cups of all-purpose flour. When you measure out flour, you're not going to dip like this because you're packing too much flour into your cup measure. You're going to do just like this, scoop it in there, get it up to the top, and then very gently level out your cup. So you're going to do that for all 3 cups. Then you're going to add 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And yes, there's a difference between baking powder and baking soda, so make sure that you've got baking powder. All that looks good, and you're going to sift it together. Okay, so this is just going to hang out here while we go work on the butter mixture. Okay, so this has been going for a while now, probably about 3 or 4 minutes. You can see how creamy it is. I'm just going to shut it off and I'm going to scrape down the sides just to make sure that all of it is mixed in. Make sure you get any excess off your beaters. You're going to turn it back on low and we're going to add 3 cups of granulated sugar. So we're going to turn it back up to medium and we're going to let it run for 2 to 3 more minutes. So what you're wanting is for it to get really fluffy, which you can see it's starting to turn a white color. It's all really fluffy. I'm gonna give it one more good scrape around the sides. And let it fluff up again for about another minute. All right, so that's pretty fluffy. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add 5 room temperature eggs, one at a time. So you're gonna crack an egg, let it mix in where all the yellow is kind of dissolved into the batter, then you'll do the next one. Don't do all 5 of them at one time. And also make sure they're room temperature, because mine have been sitting out all day. I do toggle with the speed of the mixer because I don't want it to be on high when I put the egg in, otherwise it's going to splatter. But once it gets in there, I want it to get incorporated, so I'll turn it up. So I have a KitchenAid and it goes from 0 to 2, 4, 6, 8. So I probably toggle between the 0 and the 2 just to try to get those incorporated. Okay, so once all 5 of them are in and they look incorporated, scrape the sides down. And if you have a KitchenAid, you know you kind of also need to get the bottom. Sometimes stuff gets stuck down in there. All right, so I'm gonna turn it back on medium speed for a couple of minutes just to get it good and fluffy. All right, that looks really good. Next, you're gonna add 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Just mix until it's incorporated. Scrape the sides down again. So we're about to add the flour mixture and the milk. So you're gonna need a cup of room temperature whole milk. 1 cup. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn it on the lowest setting, which is stir. You're gonna come over here and you're gonna grab your handy dandy flour funnel. You're gonna get half of it into the bowl. Then you're gonna pour in the milk. Once that's adequately mixed together, you're gonna pour in the other half of your flour mixture. One of the main rules of this cake is not to over mix it after the flour goes in. So at about this stage, you see there's still flour around the sides of the bowl. I scrape everything down. Knock off all the stuff on the top because that happens. As much up the sides of the beater as I can. So what you're gonna do is you're going to turn the mixer on medium speed for about 30 seconds. No more, because you don't want to overmix this batter. You want it to be this really creamy consistency. You'll see this looks more like bread dough if you're just looking at it, and so after we whip it for about 30 more seconds, it's going to completely change. All right, so that was the 30 seconds. You see it's like this really creamy consistency. Just going to scrape everything off. Scrape your bowl down. I always recommend giving it one good scrape all around. and then you're ready to divvy it out into your pans. Okay, so this particular recipe will fill 3 8-inch pans. I actually don't need that much batter today, so I'm gonna fill 2 very shallow 8-inch pans and then 3 6-inch pans. And this is gonna get me everything I need for 2 different cakes. So this one is gonna be part of a cake, and then this one's gonna be the cake I use for my caramel cake. So you're gonna wanna spray everything down with Baker's Joy. This cake sticks very badly, so you're gonna wanna make sure that you're coating the inside of your pan really efficiently. I cannot express this enough because it will stick so bad. So then, when I first started doing this, I used to cut parchment paper to the exact size. I've given up on that. I just tear out enough to fit kind of in the middle. That one will fit in the 6-inch. That one will fit in there, 6-inch. And then another 6-inch. So what I'm going to start off with is a cup, and I try to be pretty consistent about the amount that I put in each one, but this 8-inch, I need just one of the thinnest layers because it's going to be the top and the bottom of an ice cream cake. So the ice cream's the main event, not the cake. The cake is just the base and the top. So I'm actually just going to spread that out extremely thin, which means the baking time will change, but we're just gonna, don't pay attention to these two. We're going to give all of our attention to the 6 inches, which will be the normal baking time, which is 350 degrees for 22 to 25 minutes. And then we'll check it and we'll show you what it looks like, because the top never looks done, but that's when it's done. So the old toothpick trick of sticking a toothpick in and seeing if any liquid comes out is extremely helpful with this cake. Alright, so you're just going to want to smooth it down, give it a shake so it'll settle. If you were doing this in the 8-inch, you would just fill them all up evenly until you were out of batter. All right, so we're gonna pop these in the oven for, I'm gonna start at 22 minutes and then we'll see what they look like. Okay, so we're gonna test these after 22 minutes. What I said earlier about how the top never looks done, see how that top looks kind of, it doesn't look done. Like, it looks like that's not done. But the only thing that's coming out is moist crumbs, which is exactly what you want. So you don't want to cook it anymore because it's going to get too dried out and the bottom's going to be too brown. So what we're going to do is we're going to let these rest in the pan for 5 minutes, and then we're going to turn them out onto a cooling rack to cool completely. So let me just show you real quick that this one isn't done. These two are, but this one isn't. See how that's completely liquid? So I'm gonna stick this one back in for probably 2 more minutes and see how it turns out. And that's a very common problem to have because your oven doesn't always heat evenly. All right, so here's this one again. We're gonna stick the toothpick back in it. That was 2 minutes extra and it came out clean. So this one is ready as well. Like I said, I'm gonna let them rest for about 5 minutes and turn them out onto a cooling rack. Okay, so I'm gonna turn these out onto this. Look how easily that released because I sprayed it enough. Hooray! All right, the other, and one more. Uh-oh. This one stuck a little, which I'm not sad about because I want you to see what happens. The best thing to do is to take a knife and run it around the rim of the pan, because that's typically where it's stuck. And then I do it like this just to see if I've gotten it all, which I did, and there we go. But see how there's like a few little bits? It's not gonna hurt anything. The icing will fill the holes. Sample your product. We'll just remove these, let them cool completely, and then use them as needed. I hope this was helpful. I hope it's a recipe that you can use for your cake needs in the future. I'm gonna leave all of the instructions, the ingredients and everything down below in the description so that you can come and use it whenever you want to. And if you have any questions, of course, feel free to comment and I'll do my best to answer any questions that you have. Thanks for watching and we'll see you next time.